Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting. Today is Monday, February 22nd of 2021. This is a remote Zoom meeting. We're just going to go through a brief, attendee for the members of the board. I have myself, KG Dudley. We have Mike Greco.
Here.
Art Montmey.
Here.
Eric Harris.
Here.
And Mark Munjim.
Here.
And of course, our engineer, Steve Zisk.
Here.
And the first item on the board, on our agenda tonight, is the meeting minutes from 11/2 of 2020. I did have a chance to review these, and I did not find any incongruities or any issues with these minutes. I don't know if anybody else had the chance to read them. They're accurate to what my experience was in the meeting of November the 2nd. So if we, again, I don't know who else have had a chance to look at the minutes, but since I'm chairing, I'll entertain a motion to approve the November 2nd minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so moved by Mike Greco, seconded by Mark Munjim. We'll take a roll call vote.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Munjim, aye.
Art Montmey is going to abstain. I was absent from that meeting, so
Totally understandable. And KG Dudley, aye. So then we'll have that'll approve the minutes, not amended, as is.
that was at 7:04.
Correct. Thank you, Art. All right, the next item.
Do you have a new watch or something?
Oh, we
We're
gotta
trying to make sure we keep track of when
we gotta
each,
put the timestamp on.
right, we want to timestamp each of our motions for our meeting. All right, so the next item on the discussion is the letter from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, project number 15057, tax 000, Rhode Island Manville Dam Project, One Drop Hydro LLC. I got the email to this effect, but I still don't understand why this is. Nope, Steve, you don't have any.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start like a mailbox where I get mail from the Conservation Commission.
Mhm.
I figured I'd just send it to the commission. I think this is just a regulatory notifying of butters. It's a project in Rhode Island.
Okay.
So I'm speculating what I sent you is what I got. Wasn't much to it, but because it's a federal project, I'm speculating, that went to us, the selectmen, maybe another board in town. And that's it.
Is it in our water? Okay, so still outside the conservation, outside of our compound, but I mean, technically it's in our watershed, but it doesn't.
If it's in Rhode Island, it's in Rhode Island. We have
Yeah,
no,
it's on the Blackstone River though, which is the same watershed that we're in.
I don't know where Manville is.
Manville is part of Lincoln. It's
It's right
right
next-
outside of Woonsocket.
So I Googled Manville Dam, actually, All right. What are you looking at a Google Calendar? Or are you looking at Google Maps?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so it's here. Well, here, there's a nice picture of it. Apparently there's a park associated with it.
Wow.
If I zoom out, look at 146 is way over on the left. I'm going to zoom out even further. We're still not out of an island. Now we can finally see the Massachusetts border up here. And it's over here. I'm going to scroll down so we can get it. So we're over here. So it is on the Blackstone River over here. However, my initial worry was, are we worried about water from Wallem Lake? Because I remember that was one of the concerns with the power plant proposition was water drainage. But I'm pretty sure that the Wallem Lake outflow doesn't rejoin the Blackstone until further down in here. So I really can't see any way that this is going to impact us as a town.
And Wallam might be part of the other watershed.
It's not.
Well, it's not part of
It
what
is
is,
part of the Blackstone. It's just it doesn't. Its confluence is. I'd have to find it now, but the confluence with the Blackstone is so far into Rhode Island that we don't experience fluctuations usually. But it is in the same watershed because everything, all of Rhode Island drains into Blackstone. So I can't see any way in which the Manville Dam project would impact us in any way, shape, or form.
okay.
I agree.
Okay. I wasn't going to take a vote because I don't think we need to.
It's just mail. This is just
Okay.
mail.
No, I appreciate it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
That was at 7:05 for the timestamp.
Thank you. Okay, so now discussion item number 3. Again, the mailbox is the exemption letter from National Grid for 2 pole replacements on Northeast Main Street, pole 18 and 19. I did look at these as well. Timestamp is now 7:09, so I'd like to open this discussion for pole 18 and pole 19 on Northeast Main Street.
Yep. So, they hire they have a Boston BSC group that, National Grid uses. And so they sent they're pretty good. They sent the letter explaining their typical exemptions for maintenance on utility poles. So they're notifying the commission of those exemptions. I think there's a couple poles, for Northeast Main Street down by, I think it's Wellman Brook.
Yep.
That they plan on doing some work at. So they're just notifying the commission that of their intentions.
Sounds
Yeah,
pretty
so
cut
I
and
read-
dry.
And I don't have any issues. Do we have to issue a negative, or are they just
No.
they're just telling us?
They're just calling out their exemptions and letting you know.
Okay.
Which is good. So we have
Board, does anyone have any issues with the exemptions for National Grid for the telephone poles?
No. Not me.
I'm fine.
I'm fine too.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So before you go on, just a couple of housekeeping, if you don't mind, Katie, Grace.
Oh, please do.
So when I set up the February meetings, I instead of the 1st and 3rd, I did the 2nd and 4th Mondays because of holidays. The 1st and 3rd landed on a holiday, or one of them did. And inadvertently, I didn't realize that. Well, I knew there was only 28 days in February.
There are only the 28 days. Yes.
So the 28th, and typically we get 2 weeks. So the March 1st is next Monday. So we have a meeting back-to-back weeks. So FYI for the commission that we have a meeting next Monday, which is March 1st. So I didn't realize that when I did the schedule in November.
Are you saying we do have a meeting on the 1st?
We do.
Do.
What happens to the one on the 4th or whatever it is?
There's one a week from today.
No, so March goes back to our usual cadence, which is 1st and 3rd.
Right.
So we did 2nd and 4th, and then we're going back to, and in transferring back to our usual cadence, we ended up with 2 back-to-back. And I personally don't have a problem with that, because I'd like to get us back to our regular cadence. I don't have a problem having a meeting next week. It would just have a very short agenda, hopefully.
Well,
My question was, wasn't there a meeting scheduled for the 4th?
no,
No.
That was a planning board meeting, I guess.
it might be planning board.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
So I just wanted to make everyone aware, if you see me send out you the agenda, it's no fluke for next Monday.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. And then the only other thing is that I sent Tracy, I'm not sure she forwarded a couple permit extensions for 130, 134 Southeast Main, went out about a week or so ago. If no one's gotten them, I'll just talk to Tracy about following up on that.
Okay.
And then 97 Chestnut, the one you approved last week, I'm sure Mario can hear me. I haven't done that because I'm waiting for the revised plan with, we had that big discussion with the fence and the 10 or 6 feet going around the back of the garage. There was some replication.
Yes.
Right. So I'm waiting for that updated plan before I sent out the order on that.
You get it
Sorry, what was it, Margaret?
I'll get it to you tomorrow, Steve.
Okay. And that's all I have for now.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
Okay. It is 7:13 p.m. and we're going to go to old business. The first one at 7 p.m. is the public hearing continued for 130 Southeast Main Street. This is the amendment to NOI DP 143 TAC 0925. I'm opening the Google Drive. So I also don't remember which one this is.
Excuse me, but I don't think there is a 170 Southeast Main. I live at 172.
It's 130. 130.
Oh, it says 170
Where does it say that?
in the agenda, today's
Well,
agenda.
The draft number 1 said 170 and I was corrected, so I changed it to 130. So what's posted is 130.
I have it 130 everywhere that I'm looking. So
I'm looking at what was in my email, so but maybe that's old. Maybe there's,
It is. That was the first email that was updated.
I think
Okay.
this is the one where the gentleman has some physical problems and is looking to modify his plan.
okay, so it was going to be a 2-story and it went to a ranch, and we were having issues with the perimeter there.
Correct. Did you want
Okay.
to give a brief rundown or recap?
Yeah. Name and address, Margaret.
For the record, Margaret Bacon, engineer with Civil Site Engineering, and I'm here representing David LaRue, requesting a modification to an existing order of conditions for 130 Southeast Main Street.
Thank you.
And as we discussed at the last meeting, we're revising the house plan from a 2-story colonial to a 1-story ranch, which has a slightly larger footprint, as you can see in red. The originally permitted, and then the driveway, a garage coming in the side. To get into the driveway on the side, and so that is causing us to have to move back the erosion control and ask for the modification. Because it's slightly a bigger footprint than what was previously permitted. And as mentioned at the last meeting, the reason for the house change is due to medical reasons for the property owner, like a 1-story ranch instead of a 2-story colonial.
Okay. Just want to make sure that we were talking, I know we talked in the last meeting, we had some comments about the swing out and the size of the driveway. We talked about the erosion control and the plantings.
Correct. And then also I've done some, changed the grading just slightly on the driveway so that the stormwater will come down the driveway and then swing over this way with a swale in the back of the property. So it's not going directly into the wetlands.
Okay.
I've got another plan that it might show that a little better if you want me to show that. Can I do a screen?
I think you can.
Dable, can you give Margaret Bacon?
Can you see?
Hello.
Here we go.
Can you see that?
No,
No?
no,
Share screen, correct?
Yeah. Well, you gotta open, Margaret, you gotta open the file first
It's
Open.
open.
and then screen share and then the file will click up. There you go.
How's that? So,
Yeah.
so basically,
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
I kind of hatched the relocated driveway in red. And if you look a little closer, you can see the grading changes I made. So I've changed the grading so the water will flow down the driveway. Here's the grade line. spot elevations and then flows that way. So I'm not flowing directly into that wetland there. And then I've created a little berm here where these plantings are gonna be, also to keep stormwater and everything on this property. And then the impacts to the buffer zone is slightly larger. Down here, total buffer zone impact change is 1,200 square feet.
What was it before?
Initially, total impacts before were 21,655, and now it's 22,915. But I think we've addressed all the comments that the commission had at the last meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Margaret. All right, so looking at this in the files in the Google Drive, board, did we have any updated comments or questions? Start, Mike Greco, did you have anything?
No, I'm okay, I think.
Okay. Art,
No,
Mark,
Margaret, I don't see where there's really much difference in terms of the alteration from the previous plan, previous revised plan to this revised plan. It looks like exactly the same layout.
Which revision are you talking about? Here was
You came to us with a plan 2 weeks ago, and
correct.
then we had comments, and then you've come back with another plan, and it looks the same.
You wanted to see the grading. So here I put some grade lines in here and some spot elevations to show you that I can get this runoff in this driveway to go this way. You had concerns about that.
Margaret, do you know if there was ever any plan done to show the house on the other side of the septic system where the stockpile area is? Because it would seem to me like we can really reduce the amount of alteration if the house was in the front and not in the back.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of ledge right up here. I don't think that'd be it's on the top of the knoll, and this was all ledge putting in this driveway, so.
So you're going to be into the ledge anyway to put the driveway in.
Well, it's not like putting in a foundation. And you know, this plan was already approved once.
I
Or
know.
actually It's been approved twice, you know, so it's major changes for me to take that and revise all this and move the house up here.
Yeah, I wasn't on the board when it was first approved. It was never considered to have the house be at the front.
Well, another thing to consider is because of the high groundwater, it's nice to have the septic systems. What they do is they end up grading into the foundation, you know, because see all these grade lines? So this is a mound, and you don't want to create, and by grading into the foundation like we do here, it blends right in. You can't do that when you put the house over here. You know, then you have the house which is going to be a lot higher than the septic system. And then this thing's going to be a hump. And then you're going to need a pump. Unless I bring in a whole lot of fill, you know, it's a whole totally different design by moving that house up onto the top of that hill.
Well, I mean, the top of the septic system right now is shown to be at 123, and the ground at the top of the hill is 123, 124. It's exactly the same.
Okay, but I don't want to put the foundation in the groundwater. I got groundwater, I think, at about 3 feet. So the bottom of the house is or the slab of the house is going to be roughly about, let's just say 120, and then you got to add 8 feet of concrete on top of that. So the top of concrete is going to be way up out of the ground, and then I'm going to have to fill all around that. It just doesn't work that way. It's not. It's, you know, when you design septic, you got to kind of think 3D. You know, the groundwater comes into play. Where are you going to put the slab? Because you don't want the slab in the groundwater, and then you want to, you know, put the septic somewhere close to the foundation, so you fill up against to the foundation. Otherwise, you're bringing in a lot of fill. It's just not an easy switch, what I'm trying to say. Without some major changes.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you.
And Eric,
No.
all right. So what are we're looking for here? Are we looking for a minor plan change for
Yeah,
an appro-
it's a minor, oh, it's an amendment.
It's an
so-
amendment,
Yeah, it's
right?
an Amendment to the original order of conditions. So they have a public hearing, which you're having now. So it's,
Oh, that's true.
so you'd have to close and then vote on the amendment.
All right, so considering it's a public hearing, I'm going to ask the general public, and is anyone here for this site at 130 Southeast Main Street?
Katie Grace, I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Okay, I've heard a motion.
Second,
No,
Made and seconded. A roll call vote.
Art Mopany, aye.
Mike
Eric
Greco,
Harris,
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Thank you. All right. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the amendment.
Yeah, I'll move to approve the existing order of conditions to allow for the construction of a ranch-style home as per the plan submitted by Civil Site Engineering.
What's the date on this plan, Margaret?
Revised date is 1/25/21.
Okay, thank you. All right, the motion's been made.
Second,
Seconded by Mike Greco.
Yeah.
We'll do a roll call vote.
Art Mopany, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Mungem, no.
What do I just need? A simple majority?
you need 4.
Yep,
So you need, did you
but
vote?
you need 4, so you have to vote.
Now I have to think about it. Because if I vote no, then I have to explain what we want changed because I know this will come back. KG Dudley, no. I'm going to say that I want the house to get smaller and I'd like to see the driveway get smaller. Then we don't have a majority. It doesn't pass. I've never done this before, so I don't know what else to do.
That's it.
But I'm
That's
just
it.
saying,
We gotta move on and see if they
right.
make another modification down the road.
Yep.
So I'll have to type up a denial and what's the, we have to give reasons for denying it.
You want the conditions for the denial?
Yes.
So for me, it's the size of the house and the scale of the driveway. I think that you know, there could have been alternatives that would have taken up less space and less driveway space, and less septic space. And then Mark, I think Mark's voiced that he'd like to see you explore relocating the house. And I don't want to speak for you, Mark, so I'm going to let you speak for yourself. But we have to have conditions for a denial.
Yep, understood. And for me, it was that I felt like there are alternatives that would allow for this to be done without additional alteration of the buffer zone.
Okay.
And especially the 25-foot buffer zone at a property line.
Understood. All right, Margaret, I'm sorry. Do you understand?
Yeah, so what are the options here now? If we were to modify anything, is that a whole new filing or what's the procedure now if if we were gonna change anything? Or we could just go back to the original design.
True.
True?
Correct.
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 That's already been approved.
Right, but if I wanted to, or if my client wanted to try to do something else, what would the course of action be?
Well, since you have an approved design, I think you could submit another amendment.
Well, I just went from unmute.
Yep.
Who's,
Sorry, name and address. Who's speaking? Margaret, could you stop sharing the plan so that I can see the other people in the meeting? Thank you. All right.
well, I don't know
Okay.
who that would be, but the public hearing portion's closed anyway, so.
Well, I mean, we could open a new public hearing if we have to, if there's a new amended plan. But I don't, Steve, and I apologize for not knowing. I mean, they don't have to, if they come in with another amendment, it would come in the same way this one did.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it'd come in. Right, I mean, it would have been good to, I don't know what their alternatives would be, if they have some more alternatives to do it under the old, they'd have to, yeah, re-advertise and re-notify it since you closed the public hearing.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Anything else from board or?
Yeah, what did we just conclude there? That,
So we had 3 yes votes and 2 no votes. We don't have a significant enough majority to pass this amendment. So
so
it,
have we, what do they have to do now? Come back again? So we didn't continue anything, right? We closed.
no, we didn't continue it. We
Yeah.
That's
closed
up,
it out.
that's up to them.
Yep.
So we either stay with the original plan that was approved a while back, or if we have any other changes, we have to go through the amendment process again,
Correct.
re-advertising and re-notifying. That's the way I understand it. Those are our 2 options.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly. All right. The next item,
Oh, 34 Grove Street.
and it's now 7:32. Item 2 is public hearing continued for 34 Grove Street, Hayward Homes. This is the one we wanted to go for a site walk. I went to 34 Grove Street, and I'm going to be honest, it did not enlighten me any further about the plan. I didn't get a chance to walk back there just because of the snow, and I felt like I don't know, I felt strange walking through the backyards. I didn't know who was home and who wasn't home. But just looking at the concern, I know, as I recall, was with water flowing over one of the neighbors' backyards, and I don't think I could learn anything new about the water flowing over the backyard, looking at it under a foot of snow. So I did go to the site. I didn't feel like I was able to ascertain any more information than I had before, but I'd still like to walk through this again, kind of to remind me where we're at, and see if the board feels any more or less comfortable with this plan than we did last time.
I had exactly the same experience as you. I went there and I didn't have my big heavy boots on, but I decided not to walk back there. But I was struck by, I thought there was some requirement that we had to have so many feet of road frontage for there to be a buildable lot. Is that not the case anymore?
It's considered a retreat lot. You only need 40 feet.
Retreat lot.
A retreat lot, yep. 40 feet, but you have to have twice the area than a regular lot.
I knew the total area was plenty, but like I said, I didn't know about retreat.
Yeah.
Okay, that's answers my question. So you only need 40 feet of frontage.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
You want me to give a recap of this?
Yeah, real quick, Margaret, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, for the record again, Margaret Bacon, Civil Site Engineering, representing Hayward Homes regarding a single-family lot here at 34 Grove Street. Just to refresh the commission, we filed this notice of intent back in the end of November, early December. And Steve had a chance to review this. The DEP has reviewed this. They offered comments. I made the comments per both Steve and the DEP. Some of those comments were trying to reduce the size of the replication area to help minimize the amount of trees that are being removed in the replication area. Moving some of the stockpile areas so they're outside the 50-foot buffer zone, showing the utility poles on the plan. And I've done all that. I also provided with some drainage calculations that document that the culverts that I have designed here are more than adequate to accommodate the flow that comes down through this site. And actually, the amount of flow pre and post, it really doesn't change much, even with the development of the house and the lawn there. It does change a little, but not much where anybody's really going to notice it. So I've designed the replication area such so that I have to stay hydraulically connected to the wetland. I put it on both sides of the driveway. I was out there several times. There's some large trees out there, but I think we can work around those trees when we actually grade for the replication area and try to preserve those. I've done that in the past. I've minimized the size of the crossing as much as I can, and the amount of impacts for this design compared to the design that someone else did several years back that was approved is quite a bit less.
Yeah, this was approved in 2006 or something, I think.
Correct. And the impacts, I was able to narrow the driveway some. If you want to hang on just a second here. And by making the original design had these large 36-inch culverts, which are way overkill for this crossing. And the bigger the culverts, the higher the roadway, the more the side slopes, and the more the impact.
Genius, you can get life insurance in 4 years.
By lowering the size, by making the culvert smaller, I was able to lower the driveway more, minimizing the amount of impact. So the original wetland disturbance was 3,500 square feet. We're proposing, our impacts are 2,000 square feet. Buffer zone disturbance is pretty much the same. The original approved plan was about 27,000. Our buffer zone disturbance is 24,000, so we're a little less there. And their replication area was 4,000 square feet. And we're proposing about 2,700 square feet in an effort, like I said, to preserve some of those large pines. So I think we've done everything we've been asked to do. And this design is less impacts than the one that was approved previously.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. Board, did we have any other comments? Art.
Well, like I said, other than the frontage issue, which is resolved for me now, I did want to walk it and see what the runoff situation was going to be, but it was just because of the weather and the accumulation of snow, I didn't get to do it. But I went out there, but turned around after I got out of my truck. So
Understood. Mike Greco.
No more comment. I don't know where
Mark?
we're here.
Oh, go, sorry.
I did not go out there because I didn't think it was going to be worthwhile with as much snow as on the ground. But I do have one comment, Margaret, of course, and that is on the plan, I can't see the grading for the driveway. And I would just want the driveway because that contributes probably the most runoff. I would like to see the driveway runoff run through the replication area before it goes into the, before it gets to the wetland.
Actually, I've got a lot of the lawn area and the house area all grades down towards those replication areas. So actually, the replication areas kind of are going to act like little stormwater, attenuation basins, which has benefits in itself.
Right. I agree. But the driveway itself, sometimes driveways, that you get the 2 wheel rut marks and they carry the water. And so I would want to make sure that the driveway is crowned or slanted so that the water runs off it before it gets to the wetland and run into those replication areas. And I guess there is grading under, I can see it now. It's just that it's shaded.
Correct. Well, I hatched the driveway so the driveways stick out. And I do have high points on that crossing, but I can get most of the water to go towards those replication areas.
this was a paved driveway, right, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it says asphalt driveway. So
Yeah.
if you could you get it not to go to both, but I would like to see it go to the one below the septic system because from there it then has to go through the pipes. And so that's further attenuation of any stormwater is to take it through the pipes. Because I'm really thinking of the neighbor and they already have some issues with water in their backyard.
Yeah, what I can do is I can put a little swale right along that driveway to funnel the water right over to that upper replication area. That's what you're looking for, correct?
And I'm looking for the grades on those lower grades, instead of having them point or move water to the right, have them move water to the left. As you're going out, as you're leaving the house and going towards the road.
I'm leaving the house, correct. You want,
Right, so that like lower grade, that 116, it's coming across on a diagonal. It should be a diagonal the other way. So that the water comes off that driveway and goes towards the detention area that's on the left side of the driveway as you go out to the road.
so looking at this plan right now, you want mostly everything to go to that upper replication area.
I think that would be best, in my opinion, yes.
And I can easily do that. All I have to do is put in a swale along the edge of that I'll put it in the high side of that driveway to funnel all that water over there.
Right, but and the driveway water, not just the water before it hits the driveway, but the water on the driveway.
Correct, yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Mark?
No, that's my only concern.
And Eric?
And what was the size of the culverts?
I've got two 18-inch culverts in the middle, side by side. That takes the brunt of the flow. And then to spread it out during the higher flow events and to try to accommodate that sheet flow, I've got two 12-inch culverts on each side. So in the middle there is two 18-inchers, and then on both sides are two 12-inch culverts.
Okay, thank you.
And those culverts can accommodate a 100-year flood. And if we ever get the 500-year flood, I have a low spot in the driveway, so we don't create a dam. So in those, super high storm events, if we ever get one, you can see it right in between the two replication areas. I have a little low point. So that acts as a berm if we ever got flooding that much, but that's a lot of rain.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board right now? All right, this is an open public hearing. Is anyone here at this meeting for this plan, 34 Grove Street? Okay,
Dale Bangmer, I'm here.
Dale, address or representing company?
Dale representing Haywood Homes. We're going to build this lot and I appreciate your patience and we're trying to get it done and I have a closing. The sellers are very anxious and I think we've addressed everything. The impact in my mind is less than it was prior.
Mhm.
So we're hoping for a favorable decision tonight.
Okay, thank you, Joe. I guess before I entertain motions, I want to make sure. So Mark, I agree with your recommendations and your concerns, and I saw that Steve drew some nice lines on the diagram.
Right.
Are we okay if we condition this plan, or do you want to see this plan come back with amendments?
No, I'm okay if we condition the plan.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
So moved by Art, seconded by Mark. Roll call vote.
Art Monmany, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Manjamai.
All right, thank you. We'll close the public hearing. And then I'll entertain a motion for the approval with the amendments.
Yeah, so moved.
Second,
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Have a roll call vote.
Art Monmany, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Manjamai.
All right, KG Dudley, aye. All right, you guys are all set?
Thank you. And so I'm going to get you a revised plan showing the revised drainage that Mark recommended.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, that one just closed out at 7:47. The next thing on the agenda is public hearing continued for 62 Manchog Street, St. Dennis Church earth removal. Is that, nope, they've requested a continuous to the second meeting in April. We don't need to approve their we do.
Vote for the continuance because there's only one meeting in April. I think must be a holiday. They asked to go to May 17th.
They asked to go to May 17th.
Yes.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to continue the public hearing for the St. Dennis
62.
Church earth removal project to May what?
Oh, sorry, this, is it 17th?
May 17th, thank you.
Second,
All right, motion heard and seconded. A roll call vote.
Art Monmany, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Manjam, aye.
All right, thank you. All right, it is 7:48, and we're gonna look at 50 Southwest Main Street, Morse Pond Dam, Lawrence Basile. We have a Google Drive with the DEP comments, the plan, the habitat management plan.
Is the engineer here? So maybe he can explain. So I think we were waiting for, we had a presentation last meeting, we had the video, and we did not have a DEP number. So obtaining that DEP number, there were some DEP comments. And so I think Chris can maybe kind of go over, if you don't mind, Katie, the comments.
Sure. Good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Sure.
I can hear you. Name and address.
Yes, it's Christopher McClure, McClure Engineering, 119 Worcester Road in Charlton, Mass.
Thank you.
So since the last meeting, the DP did issue the file number, and they had a couple of comments. One was they would like the addition of some erosion controls in a certain area of the I guess the embankment. The main embankment along Morse Pond, along the east side of the affected work area, which we've shown in the revised plan. And additionally, they wanted us to develop a plan for the monitoring and management of invasive species. And so what we have done is we added some notes relative to the plan. You can see them on the right-hand side of the plan there. And basically, the arborist that the owner has working for him will be able to identify the invasive species and monitor them by identifying them, showing them where they're located in the affected area, and removing them when they come across them, and then monitor them while the replanting revegetation takes place, so they don't overtake the area that has been affected by the tree and woody vegetation removal.
Was DEP satisfied with that?
They were. All they wanted us to do was we did talk to Kim, and she didn't want anything obviously too extravagant, but she just wanted us to identify a plan for the monitoring. And again, with this type of project, we really haven't had to do much of that in the past, but I guess this is becoming more and more prevalent. So they at least want the individuals doing the work to be cognizant of those invasive species, and don't want them taking over when the revegetation occurs during the work process, which makes sense.
Okay. Looking at the plan, and it says a mix of native species. Did you guys select a mix for this area?
They'll probably use that the name of the seed escapes me right now, but what they basically want to keep this area just at a grass level. We don't want anything too woody coming up through that area. So it's going to be something that that mixed together of Amherst that just revegetates with it's grassy and whatever is native to this area. I'm sorry, I'm an engineer. I don't have that that particular mix down, but I'll make sure that they use that.
Is the area that you would be replanting with natives to the area of disturbance where the vegetation is being removed, is that all wetland or is some of that upland?
Most of it's upland. We're trying to keep the trees and woody vegetation off of that. The actual embankment's kind of, hillside, for lack of better description. And then what we're trying to do along the area of the wetland, we don't really want to get into the wetland. We want to stay out of the wetland area, but just remove those larger trees so they don't affect the embankment area. And that's the key. So these trees don't create root balls, and then when they get blown over, is disturb that embankment, that earthen embankment. So ideally, it's just the grassy area that we maintain after this maintenance occurs.
Okay. Yeah, I would just ask, I would encourage you to select a planting mix that makes sense for being, along the water's edge in an upland area. I always encourage something that includes milkweed.
Sure.
I'm very partial to milkweed.
Okay.
Board, did you guys have any other questions or comments?
None here.
Oh, I'm familiar with this property. I've been out there, and I agree that some kind of ground cover that doesn't get too crazy is what's appropriate there. I'm okay with it.
Me too.
Because it's been a question, should we know what that ground cover is, what the material is that's being proposed? And it be part of the proposal?
We could put that into the order of conditions, I suppose.
Yep.
Good. Absolutely good. This is a public hearing, so if there's anyone from the public to speak on this hearing, let me know. Don't have it. Okay. Not hearing any comments from the general public, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Then seconded, a roll call vote.
Art
Hold on.
Monson, yeah. Oh, you got somebody?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Oh, yeah, Mike.
I'm looking up the seed mixes from New England Wetland Plants right now. I wonder if we could just have it be part of the discussion tonight, and that way
Sure.
we don't
Okay.
have to. All right, how about the New England Erosion Control Restoration Mix for detention basins and moist sites? It includes riverbank wild rye, creeping red fescue, little blue stem, big blue stem, switchgrass, upland bentgrass, nodding bure marigold, hollow stem joe pye weed, New England aster, bone set, blue vervain, soft rush, and woolgrass.
I don't know.
No, it's no good, Katie Grace. Doesn't have milkweed in it.
So sorry.
There's plenty
Yeah.
of color, though.
Yeah.
No.
Mark, that was for detention, erosion control for detention ponds and,
It's called
In
New
wet
England,
areas.
yes, erosion control / restoration mix for detention basins and moist sites, which is what I would consider this site.
Yeah, but
Because
it's
it is-
not, it's an upland.
Yeah, but it's a bank that extends down into a wetland, so, yeah, I mean, it could be upland.
I
it
mean,
could be-
that's why you're not getting milkweed, just throwing that out there is because.
All right, well, let's try a different one. New England Conservation Wildlife Mix. This one has rye, blue stem, big blue stem, red fescue, so those are all the same. Partridge pea, panicled leaf tick trefoil, never heard of that. Indian grass, blue vervain, butterfly
My
milkweed,
milkweed.
black-eyed Susans, common sneezewood, heath aster, early goldenrod, which is great, upland bentgrass. So that's probably a better one.
can you repeat that title?
The New England Conservation / Wildlife Mix.
I've got real quick.
Chris, do you mind putting that on the plan and then just sending me, so it's on the plan too?
Yep.
And then putting a revised date on that, and we'll use that for the order also.
It's okay that we just indicate in the areas, we don't want to have to reseed the top of that, impoundment right now. It's just in the areas that are disturbed. We would need to
Correct.
use that.
Correct.
Yep.
We're not recommending reseeding in anywhere. We're not recommending reseeding anywhere that isn't disturbed.
Okay, great.
And if you end up reseeding an area that is in a wetland or is more wet, then please feel free to select something that makes more sense for that area. But with our understanding of the disturbed areas, this is our recommendation.
Okay, great. It's a conservation mix again, just so I'm, just so we're clear, it's a conservation mix, the New England conservation mix.
New England Conservation Wildlife Mix.
Thank you.
No.
When do they plan on doing the work? Do you know, Chris?
Excuse me?
You know when they plan on starting?
They ideally they will start as soon as they have approval. So probably 21 days from today if we get that order of conditions.
Okay, great.
It's a great time of year to be removing the trees anyways.
No, and I mean that makes sense. Nothing's in their growing season right now, so.
Yeah, and then access to any trees along the embankment can be furthered with the ice that's there. So it kind of allows them to get access that way as well.
Okay. All right. Anything else? We were getting ready to vote on a closure of the public hearing. I will take a vote on the public hearing because we were both moved and seconded.
Art Monmany, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Monjamai.
All right, KG Dudley, aye. All right, and then the next one would be the approval of the plan.
I move that we approve the plan with our normal orders of conditions, but also include the use of the New England Conservation Wildlife Mix for the disturbed areas.
Second.
Thank you. Art made the motion, Eric seconded. Roll call vote.
Art Monmany, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Monjamai.
KG Dudley, aye. All right, you're all set.
Great, thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
All right, it is 8:01 and we are moving. We're moving.
Yeah.
I promise. Oh, yay, to number 5, notice of intent for Joseph Road lot number 18, JMT Sleepy Hollow. Do we have amended plans from Sleepy Hollow?
We do.
Good evening, John Federico with Gurrier and Hellman, representing the applicant Sleepy Hollow LLC. In the past week, I was able to go through and take a look at the grading. I do have a revised 40 scale drawing for that to go over with the commission. Do I have permission to do a screen share?
Yeah, Douglas Cable, can you enable John Federico to do screens here?
Should be all set now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then is everybody able to see the plan in front of me?
Yes.
I can
Yes.
see your screen.
No.
Great. No to the plan? Okay.
Whoops, wait a minute. There it comes.
Now,
I think,
has this plan been submitted?
No, it has not.
Okay.
I did receive word from Steve Donatelli, Board of Health agent, recently that the past revision, the one that was discussed at the last meeting, met his Board of Health comments, and he would be approving those. Currently, approval is obviously on hold until any additional comments are finalized. I will be able to get all Board of Health plans re-revised to match any of these grades if that is sufficient enough for the commission. Just didn't want to try to create more work if we do have further changes occurring.
Understood. No,
and,
that's a good strategy.
I thought this one here was the colored copy. Excuse me, bear with me 1 second here.
You want me to bring up both of the plans, the old and new ones? I know
I do have that, Steve. I know I forwarded you over a copy. I wasn't sure if you were able to put both 40 scale plans.
I emailed you around 5:30. I needed the JPEG.
Got you. My apologies about that. I was away from my desk at the time.
I think it might be good to bring up both if you have my PowerPoint.
Sure. That is, I believe, this one here.
There you go.
And then I also do have a 40 scale one in here that we can take a little bit of a closer look at. But we do have on the right-hand side, the original 40 scale plan. I'll zoom in a little more here for everyone. This was showing that we had this purple erosion control barrier that did run along about 1 to 2 feet outside of the, I believe it's a 25-foot no disturb buffer that the town has. And then we were proposing some grading as well. There was a small portion that clipped into the riverfront buffer. As a part of the new redesign, we were able to eliminate all proposed walkouts from the site and several areas able to create a large berm that would run along the back of the properties per the request of the commission to try to channel all that water towards the detention areas and through the backyards. And in addition to that, we also were able to pull all the grading outside of the 50-foot no build buffer per the request of the commission. So currently, we have grading stopping right here where my cursor is. Not sure if everybody, sorry, I can't do a highlight for that, but can see on the lower left-hand portion of the screen. The yellow here is where the 200-foot riverfront buffer is. We're going to be outside of that with this new proposed grading, so no disturbances to the 100-foot or 200-foot riverfront. And then standard grading that was proposed originally for that lot. Again, we did pick up the house in the system a little bit on lot 23 in particular. 22, again, similar situation, just grading and making sure those contours stayed out for that riverfront buffer. And then once we start to get into lot 20, 21, 20, and 19, that is where we have the significant portion that is located outside of the 50-foot, as well as where the berm is in place. Essentially right now, where my cursor is right here, and also over here, we did throw in some spot grades that would be at elevation 401. And then it does slope down towards the back of the house, and then we'll slope away from the house towards that detention area. I can zoom in, and if there are any particular locations that the commission would like me to take a look at,
yeah, I would.
Please let me know.
John, I would, that was great for the overview, but I would mostly on this stick to 18 since that's the opening of the hearing.
Okay, yeah, sure. Sorry about that. So as far as 18 goes, that is this lot located on the right-hand side. Some of the comments that we had were regarding the backyard and some of the grading there. Again, the walkout was eliminated for this one. We did pick up the footprint by about 2.5 to 3 feet, as well as we're able to flip the garage and squeeze the septic system into a much tighter spot located to the, I believe that is the northwest corner of the site. From there, we have a 406 grade that ties into existing, 402 grade that ties into existing, and then from there, we're about 52 feet to where the edge of the wetlands is. Again, we're outside of that 50-foot no build per the request. And then we also did expand grading on the right-hand side. I can show you on the 40 scale plan to the furthest extents for it, but essentially we had a 414 grade right at the very far right-hand edge here. We graded down to 408 to create a kind of a flatter area that could be a usable yard for the folks. And then the rest of the grading that occurs here is just us trying to chase the contours until we're able to match everything. Contours that we are proposing are 3-to-1, so they would be non-erodible slopes once stabilized. With this lot here, essentially we did the best grading that we could for it. We did try to create a berm back there, but that whole area through there being at a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 slopes existing, we're not going to be able to make any sort of berm there work unless we were to try to propose a wall, which I feel is starting to get a little bit out of scope for that lot. But again, we did try to minimize as much of the impacts by flipping and raising the house as possible for it. If there are any questions, or if you would like me to zoom in on that 40 scale plan, I can pull that one up a little bit.
I have a question. What are you using the fiber roll? So everywhere else, just for general, everywhere else now along the erosion control, the erosion is going to be going away from the wetlands, except for this spot here.
Yes, and then it's also going to be on lot 19 where my cursor is here. There is a little bit that it is just following existing grades there. We're not proposing to change anything for it. And then that berm does pick up starting it into lot 20 and then carrying on into 21 and 22.
Lot 18 where it's significant, you know, you might get some runoff. Is that fiber roll or is that going to be silt fence?
Right now, we're proposing on the plans a silt fence, but if that is something that you would like to see a mulch sock or something else.
No, I like the silk fence. It's you know it'll contain the erosion a little bit better than any built up sediment where you have a little 6-inch fiber roll. The heavy rains, I think it's going to go up and over that. So, okay, good.
And then I also did double check because I know there were some concerns with any sort of any untreated water or anything like that. In terms of the design for the basin, we do have additional recharge capacity in there as well as stormwater attenuation that we can provide. So each of these lots has already been factored into the originally approved drainage calcs for both driveway and for the house footprints. Those house footprints that were sized were approximately between 1,850 and 1,900 square feet. These ones here are just using a footprint of approximately 1,800 square feet. Driveways that were a part of the calculations were factored in at about 1,900 or so square feet. The driveways that we're proposing here are about 1,250. So we do have a little extra room to play in terms of the amount of treatment that we're providing with the overall stormwater system. Not sure if the commission has any questions or would like me to single out anything in particular for this lot.
Yeah, I noticed that you moved the driveway over to the right side of this lot so that you had more room for the septic, but you didn't move the house any closer to the street?
We did pull it a little bit closer. We're about, bear with me 1 second here. We are at about 51 or so feet based off my scale right now from the corner of the house to the closest point of the right of way. We do have a 50-foot setback for that. So that lot in particular was tucked up as close as possible. And then also too, we did try to push the septic system as close as possible to the setbacks as well.
Okay, understood. Yeah, no, I see that you moved that over to try and get, you know, more space for your, you know, really utilizing that frontage space for the septic system.
And then also too, we are a little bit pinched on the side setback. So I could try to rotate the house a little bit more. But at that point, we might be having a closer point that would be getting towards the wetland. I felt that this iteration that's shown here is going to be the furthest separation that we can provide there.
Steve, is this you holding the plan?
No,
It's,
No, we're looking at John's plan. We're looking at the engineer's plan.
okay. Could he reposition it? It should, I think it has the lot numbers at the top, but they're cut off. You've cut off the lot numbers.
No, the old plan had the lot numbers on the
There
street.
they are. There they are.
Right, that's
Sorry,
the older
so,
one. We're looking at an updated plan.
That far right-hand side one was lot 18 that we were just looking at. I believe the colored copy I had for the 40 scale, I did add in those lot numbers. If you would like, I can just double check that real quick, and that might be a little bit easier for everybody to see. Is that okay for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this one had, woo. You had 3 orange lines on there. What
Yes.
do they represent?
100-foot buffer. We also had the 50-foot no build and the 25-foot no disturb on there. I was just following the coloring that Steve had on one of his markups for it.
which is, corresponds with the, wetland policy coloring.
Mm-hmm.
So these are proposed paved driveways with bulkheads now?
Yes, that is correct. And this is the 40 scale plan. Lot 18, I did try to put the lot numbers up near where the septic systems are, if that's a little bit clearer. Again, purple line representing where the erosion control barrier would be. That's also representing the limits of work as well as the limits of the yard. And then with this one here, essentially, since we have the cul-de-sac pinching down in this spot, I stopped the grading right about where my cursor is here. And then that's pitched forward, and then there is going to be a high point in the center here, or I can pull it back a little bit to try to pitch some of that water towards the driveway and then onto the roadway at that point.
Well, how far is the house now from the erosion controls?
From the erosion controls, it's only going to be the deck that's off this backside that's going to be relatively close. If not, we're providing, I believe it's about 15 feet or so to where the erosion control barrier would be. And then all houses are located outside of the 50-foot no build. I believe the closest part for any of the homes were closer to the 60-foot range. But once I get the Board of Health plans updated, I can make sure that any dimensions are very clear on there for the commission to take any final looks at.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there no level area behind the house? Do you come right off the back and down that steep slope?
Essentially, I tried to provide about a 6-foot spot for where the bulkhead is, just so that somebody can maneuver around there. And that's where the 406 grade's tying in right here. Sorry, I lost my cursor. Right in this spot right here. But other than that, that's all I can really provide. Again, the way the contours are there and how tight it is to that lot, essentially we would have to put in some sort of small retaining wall or try to grade out past that 50-foot buffer in order to try to provide something flat there. We did take a look at it to see what we could do to try to create a little bit of a flatter spot and maybe pitch some water away from there. But unfortunately, just the way the topography is existing out there, it's a little bit of a tough one to deal with.
Sure is. And what's the cellar elevation?
Right now, it is going to be, sorry, one second. Just
okay.
Hard for me to read off the screen. Elevation for the basement slab is going to be 401 on this particular lot. The high point of the ridge through here, I believe, was about a 410 range or so. And then we're proposing, again, 406 where that bulkhead is. So it's not a full 7.5 foot basement that would be there. It is going to kind of match with the grades. I didn't want to try to propose anything lower down there and then have it be almost essentially a walkout, since we are tying into the 402. So I just left it a little bit higher to provide the bulkhead and keep as much of the existing ground there as possible.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions or anything that I might be able to highlight for you on lot 18 in particular?
So is there still a deck on this lot?
All these lots are proposing decks. Again, with regards to the stormwater calcs, we do have a little bit of play in the numbers. As far as what the decks are being proposed and the soil types out there, we don't feel it's any sort of impact for those. I've seen decks installed with some gravel underneath them to allow for infiltration. I've seen them with the grass underneath it. Essentially, especially with a lot this tight with those grades off the backside, the deck might just be able to provide a little bit of a flatter area for some people to kind of enjoy some of the wilderness that's on the backside of their lot. And especially with not really being able to kind of hide anything for our side yard that we're providing there. I'd like to try to provide a little bit of privacy for that particular homeowner.
The way the elevation works when you're at the back of the house, it's a downslope, which means, so like I've been to the site currently right now, it's a sudden steep up and then it berms and comes down. That would be leveled out.
Yes, and again, all the grades would match at existing. So anything that you are seeing on that backside, we wouldn't be trying to change that. Essentially, if you were kind of viewing it as like a pyramid, we're just taking off, the top point of it, and then it's just going to become a plateau at that point.
Okay.
So then again, any runoff that doesn't hit the house would follow natural grade at that point, unless it is on the lots that we did provide a berm and some of that grading to get the water away.
What's the garage on the side? Is that just a garage right against the house, or does the square footage of the house include the space above the garage?
The square footage of the house would include the garage as well. The footprints shown are 60 by 30. The footprints haven't been finalized just yet. So this could be a little bit oversized. As far as where our calcs work, we wouldn't try to go anything larger than what these are. But it might have a couple jogs placed in there or something along those lines. In terms of overall livable space, I'm not sure what that final number would come out to. I would need to speak with an architect on that one.
Okay.
And
sorry
about that.
It's a two-story home.
Essentially, it would be a basement and then your top story and then possibly a second one for some livable space. But right now, we do have a garage proposed about 1 foot lower than top of concrete, if that helps clarify anything.
It does, because I'm only saying that because I'd like to see the size of the house smaller.
That's something, again, we can talk with the clients on. I know Jim and Andy are present for the hearing tonight. I'm not sure if they might have anything additional finalized with regards to that, or have spoken to the final developer for the homes, if they might know what that footprint might be. I'd default to them right now if they have any input there.
Yeah, thanks, John. Andy from Sleepy Hollow. We'll talk with the builder and get his vision for that house and get it to you, John.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. All right, board, any other comments, questions? So Steve, are we waiting for anything on these lots? Are we waiting for like a DEP number? Are we waiting for health or?
No, I'm just waiting for you guys.
No, boy.
And then I would ask if there is going to be any sort of closings for these hearings, that any revised plans would be done under a condition. I know I do have them partially worked out. It's just a matter of getting everything finalized and tightened up there. But just to save a little time for everybody and help keep your hopefully schedule a little bit on the lighter side, I feel that asking for that as a condition wouldn't be too out of or too much of a reach to ask there.
Well, let me ask you, John, all these lots are kind of daisy chained together. So if lot 21 is changed, would you have to change lot 20, 19 and 18 to match anything?
It would depend on the change that's occurring. As far as the grading goes, I might be able to work with it to an extent. But if it is something that would be significant, they might be tied together, which is why I didn't try to go through the whole effort of revising everything to possibly have it change again.
Right. So the reason I'm saying procedurally, I don't know if the board wants to, you want to close this or continue it till next week, or try to leave them open. So you'd like to have them all pretty much approvable. So you don't want to close this 18, 19, and then all of a sudden lot 21 changes and you have to reopen 19 and 18 because you have to change the grading. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Would it be possible to continue going through the remainder of these lots and then do any sort of final say once we can hear everything to see if there would be any additional grading concerns that the board would like to see addressed at all?
Yeah, we can hold off on our approval until I certainly want you to be able to get all of the comments from all of the lots that you can get tonight.
Yeah, sure. And like I said, I mean, if we don't have anything significant for those comments and we do want to close them out, could we just go back to lot 18, say in like 30 minutes and then readdress
Sure.
it?
No, that's absolutely fine.
Okay.
But yep. Sorry, Steve, were you saying something?
Yeah, I think he just wants to continue the hearing until at a later time this tonight.
Yes, just so that we can see if there were any additional comments, and then if we do have to get finalized plans to you, and that would be it. We could obviously proceed as such for that.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll hold off on this lot. But did we have any other comments on this lot?
Or anything that you would like to have reflected on final plans at all? I believe there was a one point of discussion on lot 19 for a post and rail fence. I don't know if that would necessarily apply here at all.
Well, I'm going to open up the other lots after 18. I want to make sure we've worked through 18. And I mean, I'll start off by saying for myself, and I'm only one of the possible votes in this meeting, I do not plan on approving this lot as shown. I would need to see a smaller house and potentially a smaller septic system, or no house on this lot at all.
With regards to a smaller house, what size footprint would you be looking to see in that case? I'm looking from a drainage side that these houses would meet that sort of requirement on the drainage aspect. So I'm just trying to kind of find the balance in between here.
I would be okay if 50% of the house area was outside of the 100.
Okay.
And of course, maintaining the septic outside of the 100, but I don't think you're going to move that because that allows you to use your frontage, right?
As far as the septic goes, we don't have any other locations on this site to be able to fit that in
right.
Based off of our testing and the way the contours are working there.
Understood. And thank you for clarifying that too. All right. Are there any other comments on 18? Also,
I'm less concerned with the size of the house. I like the fact that, the limit of work has been pulled outside of the 50-foot buffer. I'm not entirely pleased or It's probably not the right wording. Still a little concerned about the grading coming off the back of the house and the steep slope that comes right off the back of the house down towards the wetland.
As
But
far
I
as
don't
the
know that
slope
you can
goes,
change that. I
yeah,
understand.
that's existing in that case.
I'm sorry, what?
The slope that's there, it is existing in that case.
Yes.
Anything we try to do, it's just going to exacerbate that problem and cause us to have to grade further into the buffer.
Right, I understand completely.
And I think Katie, just, you made the point that the building offs, I don't know if you can zoom in.
I will see if I can get a little closer here. Looks like that might be the closest I can get us, unfortunately. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so you can't move the house outside the 100 because of the building zoning setbacks.
Because of the setback.
Yes, that setback line, it's
The
top
dash
corner
line.
is right where my cursor is here. And then essentially it cuts through right where this 4075 contour is. Again, at this point, I'm about 51 feet away. So all I can really do is kind of kick it up into that corner more. But by doing so, then I'm forcing myself to not comply with the side yard setback. So by the time I then kick out the garage portion to meet the setback, I'm going closer into the buffer there. So again, this house is kind of positioned the best way possible in order to try to be as least impactful. And then also understanding that you do have the 50-foot no build, we did try to stay out of that as much as possible as well. Or actually, we did fully stay out of that with it, and then kept the grading out as much as possible.
I mean, because that's essentially the thing. Like Mark was saying, the concern is how close you are to that wetland, and the fact that again, I also appreciate that you've moved in the limit of work as far as you have. We're trying to prevent any kind of runoff into this wetland as much as possible. We particularly don't want to see any kind of yard runoff or any kind of roof runoff or driveway runoff or road runoff in here. And my only hope is that by making the house smaller, you would reduce the amount of non-permeable surfaces. And that if you got a little more space in that backyard, maybe you could put up something like a hedge or a berm or something that would prevent the homeowner from putting lawn all the way up to and potentially beyond that limit of work line.
I think it is going to be a little tough to get anything berm related in there. Again, those contours do go up into the middle of where the home is proposed. So essentially, unless we were trying to raise it up well out of the ground and try not to chase slopes there, I think that making a berm on this particular lot would be a little bit on the harder side. I can try to pull back the high point for the side yard area to pitch more water towards the front. But essentially right now, pavements and the house would all be directed towards the right-of-way, and no portion of the right-of-way is directed towards the wetlands. So we are trying to keep as much of the water away as possible. If we have to make it a condition or something, we can ask to have any roof gutters to all pitch towards the front in that case. I think that could be a possibility there. But I do feel that one concern would be if we have no water going towards that area, and with this stream there being intermittent, how that might possibly dry it up even more.
Absolutely.
We do have slopes from the original existing conditions that all flow down towards that area. And now a lot of it is being intercepted and then sent to the detention area. And I'm not sure if that necessarily would help or hurt the stream, but trying to at least have some of that water go off the backside, I think it would be beneficial overall, especially with us having the extra ability to provide the treatments that is needed for it in the overall drainage system.
Right. I would not want the gutter system to be pointing all towards the street. My issue really isn't the house so much as the water coming off the lawn. I mean, if I could guarantee this house had no backyard, then I would feel better and I would still want a gutter system. But knowing that there's going to be some backyard on this house and that there's going to be some side yard in this house, I mean, if nothing else, we certainly need something that divides the limit of something that indicates the limit of work and where it is. I would, encourage like a planting of natural native shrubs along that area. Because I understand you're not going to build an upright berm, but something on that slope to indicate, hey, this is the edge would be appreciated.
The tree line there, the entire tree line is not being destroyed in any way there. So that would be a delineating factor there. But that is something that I can talk with Andy and Jim on if they would be against proposing any plantings there. And we could try to put in a hedge along that erosion control barrier line to kind of delineate a little more. But really, we're not even providing a backyard here. It's mostly just to make the grades work at that point is all we're really doing. But I do understand your concerns with that, though.
Yeah, Katie, I don't think there is going to be a backyard for this lot. It's a 3-to-1 slope. I can't even imagine trying to mow that and have that be a lawn area.
It's not going to be mowed at all. Again, really, I'm only providing that 6-foot area so that they can safely exit the bulkhead and get around the site, and that's it. Then the deck area, it would be like a sonotube that would be installed there, so no real impacts. And then it's just going to sit above whatever the existing grade is there. It's not like they're going to be able to use that area. That was kind of the whole side yard expansion. And unfortunately, it does eliminate all privacy for that lot, but it is a substantial change from what we had originally proposed.
What if we put a contingency on the plan that 3-to-1 slope is planted with a material or a landscaping type material that's, not going to be maintained or regularly maintained? Would that help, Katie?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I would agree with that.
Yeah, planting with something that's an erosion control native planting series for a slope like that, as opposed to a mobile lawn. Right. No, that makes sense. Understanding that slope and understanding what's going back there. And thank you both, John and Mark, for clarifying that for me. All right, those are all the comments I had on 18.
Okay. If nobody else has comments for lot 19, again, very similar.
We need to open that, don't we?
Oh, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Item 6, it is, so first of all, item 5 is still open for lot 18. Item 6, it is now, I lost my clock now.
8:35.
8:35, and we're looking at lot 19 on Joseph Road, Sleepy Hollow. Thank you. Proceed.
Yes. So with this lot here, we were able to raise up the footprint by about 9 inches or so. And then again, with same as 18, eliminated the walkout portion and any sort of real backyard there. We are tying in with one of our grades here. I believe that is 404. That is tying in right at the bulkhead, meeting existing grades. And then we also have 402 tying in as well, essentially similar to 18. In that spot, we're providing just enough space so that they can safely exit the bulkhead and be able to wrap around the left side of the house in order to access anything with existing grades all along the backside. Essentially, we're carrying the 404 contour, which would be right at the corner of the bulkhead. And then we're gently sloping up. So there is a little bit of runoff that would be occurring there. But again, we just don't have enough space to try to grade anything towards where the either roadway is going to be or to where the rear lot swales would be. It's a similar situation where we're going to be chasing contours with anything we do here. But we can obviously have any sort of hedges or something to kind of be a delineating feature installed if that's something that the commission would be pushing for in this case. And then with the rest of the lots, we did try to sandwich everything as close as possible to the right of way in terms of the septics, any setbacks there, and the house itself.
All right, board, any comments on this lot?
So the existing tree line, some of it would remain on the sides especially, and a new proposed tree line would go behind the house?
Yes, essentially the tree line currently follows roughly the 100-foot buffer, which is the topmost red line that you see. The new tree line would be where the purple is. We're pulling it back at some spots, maybe about 20 feet or so. And then in terms of the grades, it is a very gradual, essentially like a 6-inch change over about 15 feet or so before it meets existing, and then existing grades would carry through there.
Okay.
Any comments, Mike, Mark, or Eric?
I have the same comment regarding the treatment of that 2-to-1 or 1-to-1 slope behind the house as I would that we just talked about for lot 18 with planting, a planting plan for that.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with that as well. Definitely something to cover the erosion on the slope, something that delineates something that's not part of the lawn.
For this lot here, since we don't have any real side yard to use in this case, would it be okay with the commission if we were able to essentially hold that 404 or 402 elevation as kind of the extent for that yard? That would be roughly where the existing, or sorry, not the existing, the proposed erosion control would be.
I don't understand the question.
If you can see my cursor here, the 404 contour is right here and kind of follows down where it meets existing here. If we could ask that they maintain, the 404 or 402 as where that erosion control planting would start and then go from there, just to give them a little bit of a backyard where they don't have a side yard to utilize like on lot 18.
Well, but doesn't the existing slope continue up to the house?
It does not.
It doesn't.
404, which is roughly, again, right where my cursor is here.
Yeah.
And then it would just be gradual, about a 6 to a 7-inch change in grade up to where the house is.
So it is, it's flat behind the house here, a bigger area.
Give them on this particular lot a little bit of a backyard since they don't have a side yard or anything that they would be able to use there.
I mean, I was only talking about the landscape material for the steeper slope. So yes, I would be fine with just below the 402.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just looking for a little clarification there.
Yep. Okay. Yes, the 402. All right. If there's no other comments from the board on 19, I will hold the public hearing open. I'll hold our hearing open, and we can open up number 20.
841.
It's 8:41. It's item number 7 on the agenda, public hearing NOI Joseph Road number 20, Sleepy Hollow.
All right, thank you. So with this lot here, just bear with me 1 second. So with this lot here, we were able to pick it up by about a 1 foot or so before we started having issues with gradings with the septic system and meeting any sort of grades for that. Also too, with this footprint, we did push this one forward a little more. Right now, this is in line with the other 3 lots, 23, 22, and 21. It is providing about 60 feet from the edge of the right-of-way. Front setback is 50 feet. But again, this is also maintaining setbacks off of the septic system and keeping those setbacks as tight as possible. Also too, with regards to this lot here, we did, with raising the footprint, we're able to install a berm that would be at 401 elevation that would kind of blend into the existing onto lot 19. But then from that 401 elevation, everything is pitching towards the house and then away from the house along the rear lots, eventually dumping into the detention pond per the request of the commission.
Love it.
And then also too, again, this lot here did have the walkout eliminated. So we were able to bring up some of those grades as well to help us meet that 401 contour.
I'd still like to see something delineating the edge of the lawn, whether it be plantings or.
It would be the berm elevation that would kind of be a delineation, but if it is some sort of plantings or something, that can be discussed with the clients for it.
I don't think we need a berm. I would be looking for plantings.
Okay.
Any other comments from the board on 20, or as this being a public hearing, any comments from the public? All right, I'm going to leave that public hearing open as well as that lot 20 open, and we're going to move on to item number 8. What time is it?
8:44.
8:44. Public hearing NOI Joseph Road number 21, JMT Sleepy Hollow.
So with regards to this lot here, we did not pick up the grade for the house at all, but we did eliminate the walkout and added in the bulkhead. With that change, we were able to have a berm installed that again is holding that 401 elevation. Another thing to note about the berm, it is about 10 feet wide roughly. We'll have that high point there at the 401. Everything is pitching from 401 towards the house, and then will be collected in a shallow swale to pitch it across the lots towards the detention area. And then anything on the sides of the house is pitching as well as the driveway and front of the house, all towards the roadway to get accepted into the stormwater system before discharging into the stormwater basin for treatment and attenuation. With this lot here, we were able to, again, pull grading well out of the 50-foot buffer. I believe we're about 60 or so feet to where the wetlands would be. I can make sure that we do have final dimensions on there that would be very clear for that on any final plans.
Can you clarify, is this a walkout or a bulkhead?
All of these lots will be bulkheads.
It says walkout on the plan.
Yes, my apologies. The text for some reason didn't carry through on the plan. That's why I've been kind of double checking for specific elevations and everything for you.
At 20, it says walkout as well, just so you know.
Yes, I did catch that. Again, my apologies. All these lots are proposed to have bulkheads.
Thank you. What is the slope on the ground going back towards the house?
All slopes are being proposed as 3-to-1.
Thank you.
And then any swales that we do have will provide about a 2% pitch or more to try to divert any water and then prevent any sort of ponding and standing water from occurring as well.
Do you have any concern about the water going, you know, from one lot to another lot to another lot and picking up speed and doing any kind of erosion as you get to lot 22, 23?
a little bit of a concern with that. Kind of one of the reasons why initially we graded it to have the backyards kind of gradually flow out towards the wetlands. But that is something that we'll take a closer look at when we get into the finalized grading. If we do have to try to channel it a little more, or maybe add like some sort of check dam to try to slow down any sort of water, we'll definitely make sure that that's all taken into consideration. The other thing to note too is with this being very sandy, gravelly material out here, we're not really anticipating for a lot of that runoff to actually make it there. It would just infiltrate into the ground before it reaches its final destination.
That's true. I agree.
And again, with this one here, I believe this lot in particular, we were able to pick up the grading by about 9 feet or so. I believe we had originally proposed about a 381 elevation, and this was also the lot that had the very large flat backyard as well with it. So a significant change in order to help prevent any sort of runoff from going into the wetlands as requested by the commission.
Did you happen to calculate the difference in amount of exported soil?
That was not something that we had done yet. If you need that final number for it, we could run it. But as of right now, we just try to tighten up the grading as fast as possible so that we could make it in time for the meeting.
Is it expected that the space between the 100-foot and the limit of work would be lawn area? Is there any way to bring that in? I understand that you've got to, your limit of work is out as far as it is for the grading. I'd just like to see, I'd like to see the tree line brought in, but I mean, I don't know how many plantings I want to request. I feel like that's a lot of lawn on that house lot.
The other thing is though, is the high point would be the berm. So there wouldn't really be any sort of erosion or any sort of water runoff that would be going off the back. Everything would be essentially collecting, flowing down where the berm is at 401 down to where our flatter backyard is, and then all of it's pitching to the left to get to the detention area there. I don't think that the tree
line.
Where's
the high point in the backyard?
High point is right where the erosion control is.
Okay.
It's called out at 401, and then everything from the 401 is pitching towards the house. So nothing is pitching other than existing grade and existing tree line towards the wetland area.
Okay.
All proposed grades
I'm
again.
just trying to, I mean, at this point you're 100 feet out, so I would hope that the sunlight aren't a factor. I'm just trying to keep as much shade and as much natural environment as I can around that stream, considering it's a feeder to a cold water fishery, and I want to keep everything as far away from that as possible.
Well, understandable. Again, current tree line from any site walks that Steve or the commission might have attended is roughly right along where this 100-foot buffer is. So proposed tree line, it's not really changing too much. We might be talking 20 feet, maybe 30 feet at its worst extent there. And again, in terms of any runoff portion though, nothing is directed from any of the impervious surfaces into the backyard in which it would be going into the wetlands. Everything would be going through treatment prior to discharge.
Okay. I would still recommend plantings at the edge of that berm just to indicate the edge of the lawn, edge of disturbance area. Any other comments from the board or for the public on 21? All right. All right, if you give me the time, I'll open up 22.
8:51.
8:51, we're opening up NOI Joseph Road, Lot 22, Sleepy Hollow.
So with this lot here, we had no real proposed grade changes in terms of like raising the building or changes to the septic system. Because of the elimination, or actually, sorry, with this lot here, this was originally proposed as the bulkhead, but with the elimination of the walkout on lot 23, we were able to lessen the cut that's occurring on this one here. And we're able to kind of grade in that swale on the backside to help facilitate water not going into where the wetland area is. So really, again, just kind of re-lessening of the slopes, picking it up a little bit in this area, but generally no significant changes that occurred on this lot.
Yeah, almost everything in here is outside of our buffer zone.
I have no concerns.
All right, anyone else with concerns or anything from the public? Again, this is a public hearing, and we've still kept all the public hearings and all of the lots open. All right, Art, if you give me the time, I'll open up 23.
Sure, 8:52.
8:52, public hearing, NOA, Joseph Road, Lot 23, Sleepy Hollow.
All right. With this one here, as previously mentioned, we did eliminate the walkout for this one. We are proposing a bulkhead. Due to that, we were able to raise the grades that are occurring along the left side of the house. And then in terms of the grades from the cut of the hill, we did make sure that we pulled all of those outside of the 200-foot riverfront area. So that will remain as existing conditions. No proposed changes will be occurring in that spot. In terms of the slopes that are here, everything is proposed at 3-to-1 for it. This does top out at a very high point for that ridge. I don't feel that any sort of proposed plantings or anything would be necessary, as the hill itself will kind of act as the limits there. And then again, everything would be flowing into the detention area, and we will make sure that we do have any spot shots or anything necessary to show that small swale along the backside of those houses to capture any runoff from the adjacent lots and make sure that they all get into that detention area.
The basin's associated with this lot, right?
Yes, the basin is located on lot 23. It is all within inside a drainage easement. And basin has been constructed as built and previously permitted with the definitive subdivision approval.
Okay.
Do these lots surface drain into the basin, or do they flow through a pipe or structure to get into the basin?
All lots would be proposed with the foundation drain, and a couple of situations on lot 20s, 21 and 22, where we won't be able to discharge to daylight. We did have, and will be noted on the final plans, a sump pit and potential sump pump if needed. But once that is handled, everything would be discharging via daylight.
Okay.
I'm just curious at this point, what differentiates the lot from the retention basin? Is it just, it's the slope there?
There is, sorry, I'm just trying to find my cursor again. Right here, this is a gravel roadway that is servicing the detention basin itself. There is an easement line. It's a little hard to see here, but it is called out on the final plan that would be there. I believe there is pins to demarcate that, but I am not 100% sure. But then it is the basin that is there. So it's not like we're going to be having kids or anything playing in that area at all.
I was just curious. I don't know if I was living in that house, if I could put a play structure up there, you know, that might be fun.
Unfortunately, no, that wouldn't be the case for it. I can double check any sort of documentation to see if there needs to be any sort of pins or any sort of fence that would be installed there. But that is something that wouldn't be intended to have any sort of recreational use at all.
Okay. Do you traditionally do plantings around retention basins?
No. I know that there is another project that I have in Milford for a subdivision, detention basins similar kind of to these right in the backyards. Those there, they did have some wetland restoration plantings that were added in. because they had a situation where they had to do some fill. But outside of that, no plantings were necessary to delineate or to help facilitate the basin at all.
Okay. Is that, I got the other plan too. No, it's just kind of a general curiosity question too, because I feel like, oh, maybe it's not. I thought the retention basin was right next to the road, and it's not. It's kind of nestled in the neighborhood there.
Yes, I mean, it is next to the road, up by where I have lot 23 called out. You can see that where that driveway meets the roadway. So, you know, it is maybe, I'd estimate, you know, 30 feet to 50 feet off of the roadway. But it's not like it's really tucked away or anything too much outside of that.
Yeah, it's just, you know, the retention basin kind of, it drains out to where that wetland is and where that riverfront area is. And I just wanted it to blend into the kind of natural area as much as possible. But I understand it is a retention basin and it has to, you know, it is the way it is, you know, so it can do its job.
Yes, I know that in terms of any sort of tree lines or anything, it is pretty vegetated on the backside of that basin from any past site visits I've done. Not anything most recently, but I believe the last time I looked at the basin personally was probably September to October range. And then as far as everything goes from the functionality of it, I haven't seen any sort of signs of erosion or anything that would draw me to be concerned with what's going on over there currently.
Okay. Board, any questions or comments about this lot 23? Also, this is a public hearing, so any comments from the public? All right, board, I want to get a general feel for how, if we're going to approve some of these or all of these together tonight. And if so, we can start closing public hearings. We could start closing. We could start approving if that's where we are.
I appreciate all the modifications and some pretty substantial changes that have been made, but I'm just a little uneasy with all the slope on this property. And I don't know. I don't know how everybody else feels about it.
With regards to the slopes, is there anything that I might be able to help address to ease some of your concerns that you have?
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking of, and I've been listening to everybody's comments. At this point, I'm not sure. Steve, what do you think about what do we got, like 30 feet of elevation change from the first house to the last house?
In regards to
the slope in this property.
Approximately about 30 feet or so. The top of concrete at lot 23 was somewhere around a 378 mark or so. I know the basin elevation was sitting at about 370. And then at lot 18, which is the higher portion of the site, top of concrete was proposed at about 408, so 31 feet or so. And then grades around it were proposed at about 406, 404 range.
Right.
Yeah, I guess my opinion, like lots 20, 21, 22, and 23, where they did, I think they did a good job pitching everything away from the wetlands. So I don't think any work during construction is, so if the whole area is wide open, I'm assuming they're gonna clear everything from 18 to 23. So lots 20, 21, 22, and 23 from the erosion control, would they put that in first and they start excavating all these lots from 20, the property line from 20 to 19, all that work, if it's a mud pit, is probably gonna go towards the detention pond. Is that right, John?
Yes, and as far as construction goes, before we get any final stabilization, we can definitely try to put in any sort of diversion swales if needed to facilitate any runoff or potential erosion from away from that wetland area. But I don't anticipate that as being an issue, particularly on lots 21, 22, and 23, with it mostly being a cut slope situation.
So 19 and 18 would be the concern, and I think it's everyone's concern. And I'm not so much concerned after it's all built. It's more during construction and how you're gonna, this could be left open. I don't know how long you're gonna leave it open. So I like Art's concern too, where if, specifically the other sites, if these get built first, what kind of mitigating measures is there going to be? Maybe temporarily, if this is a mud pit or it's a sand pit, but if you get heavy rains and it's all left wide open,
you get a big storm. That's what I'm thinking too.
Storm, you get a big wet spring. Any, I know you have your construction protocols, and any detail of maybe putting some of that on, almost like when you're building the roadway, because I know that area is the easement, that's for the water line, right?
Yes, on lot 18, that is the water line easement that is there.
So that's extremely steep.
And essentially those grades that are through that water line easement area, that's kind of some of the grades we've been battling here.
Right.
Initially, that's kind of why we proposed the walkouts, knowing that we had those and not trying to create any sort of safety concerns or anything. But obviously, we don't want to try to do any sort of damage to the cold water fishery. So we are trying to work as best as possible with the grades.
Yeah, I think you did a great. I think you did a great job modifying it, dressing as best as possible. It's just I know that area right where that water line is. It's just that during construction, that would be my concern.
Yeah, generally where the water line area is going to be, there isn't, other than maybe just kind of flattening out those grades, maybe we can just propose to keep the higher grade on the backside until construction's complete.
Right.
I think that could be a possibility in that portion. As we get closer to where the building is, that might be a little bit harder to do there, but if that's something that maybe we need a little extra erosion control or a creation of like a temporary sedimentation basin just to collect any of that runoff concern that we might have. We could possibly try to work that in. I would like to if that is possible, to have that be a condition and not necessarily a revision that we would need to make for a plan. But I'll hear the input of the commission on that one.
Does he plan on doing all lots?
That's something I'm going to have to default to Andy and Jim on what their time frame might be, or the additional developer who will be putting up the individual homes themselves.
Or prepping, because these are individuals. So do they plan? If you're gonna have 6 different developers.
No, Steve, it's Andy. What I would envision would be that all the lots would be cleared at the same time and then graded to the proposed grades. So my thoughts on 18 would be that slope temporarily would be, covered with stump grindings. I'm almost thinking of putting in a 6x6 leaching basin at the bottom, and then that would help collect the water before it goes down the water easement. And then before the builder were to put in the foundation, we would have those slopes stabilized as soon as they're graded.
So you would have all 6 lots pad ready with all the preliminary
correct
construction and grading work done. So you're not going to segmentate it.
All the site work's done at once.
Right.
Yeah. So then anything that could be stabilized would be stabilized, other than the front yards and the areas where they put the foundation.
Very good.
Andy, can you identify yourself for the board as well?
Yeah, Andy Leonard was Sleepy Hollow.
This would be a lot better in the dry season, I think.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it would be not very nice to get this seeded, in May.
For sure.
Did I hear you say you would use stump grindings as erosion control?
Well, a lot of times, we keep a lot on hand and build berms with them, in
Yes.
front of the erosion control,
Yes,
because it really does handle any large storm event. And
I
then
agree.
Yeah.
I'm envisioning, whether it's a leaching basin or a small detention pond, so to speak, or infiltration basin right down at that, on lot 18 at the 396, 398 contour to catch that. So there's
Yes.
a temporary hole there.
Yeah, I don't know what your sediment is, but I found more and more people are using those stump grindings and they seem to be working. They worked pretty well. I haven't had any issues with them over the last 4 or 5 years that I've seen people using them.
I was going to suggest it, so I was glad to hear that.
So we have a meeting in a month, in a week. So I'm not sure what the flavor is for the applicant or the.
That's what I'm looking at, because I
Might-
think we'd like to see more of a construction sequence in the plan. Is that what I'm hearing?
And maybe address some of your plantings and have a
Any
plan.
erosion?
Yeah.
Well, one question I had regarding the plantings, would an option to be to put in some wetland boundary markers?
We generally don't approve of boundary markers because it's so easy for a homeowner to just pull them out, and we think they're tacky and unattractive.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll go with it, yeah.
Not permanent enough.
You can do a split rail fence.
We have approved split rail fences before.
Okay,
Yeah, my preference of plantings over split rail fences is purely based on you can, therefore help reintroduce native species that are going to help feed and support the wildlife. But in terms of permanence and demarcating wetlands, split rail fence works just as well.
okay, thank you.
All right, board, I will entertain either a motion to close or a motion to continue. I know myself, for one, I would like to see more of a construction sequence and some adjustments to these plans.
Just procedurally, Katie, we have to leave that up to the applicant.
I have to what?
We have to leave that up to the applicant.
Oh, if they want to be continued?
Yes.
If it's at all possible, just to kind of help with everybody's workloads, I would like to request that, unless Andy and Jim have any different input for it, to obviously we'll provide you with revised plans with any sort of construction sequence, but to at least have these closed out under the condition that you wouldn't be issuing anything until you are able to receive and have a moment to take a look at those plans.
They can't discuss those plans once you close.
Understood in that case.
When is the next meeting?
Monday.
Next week.
I'm sorry, 1 week?
1 week.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's another one 2 weeks after that as well.
But we can put all these on for next Monday.
With my workload, I'm unfortunately not going to be able to get a stamp plan before next Monday, but I can definitely start to get everything in the works, or at least speak to Andy and Jim on what they might be looking to do for that final demarcation of the wetlands, as well as any sort of construction sequence.
So I'm sorry, the next meeting there's one in 1 week and then one in 2 weeks?
One on the 1st and 15th.
I guess maybe we should take the next available one, and then John, if that gives you time, we'll get together and do the construction sequence, get together with the builder and get the house size for like 18.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, as far as I can go, I can, like I said, I can start putting together everything for us. Between myself and you guys, I'm more than happy to meet with you whenever you're available for it. I'm just not sure, based off of the company workload, if I would be able to get a reviewed stamp plan to submit to the commission before next week. That would be my.
Well, I wasn't talking, I'm talking about the meeting, the next meeting after.
Sorry, the meeting
March,
after.
March 15th.
I definitely think that is something that I can work on my end to get plans over to you guys. And I'll try to do that well before the 15th as well.
15th would work because there's nothing really on it, and then we could, carry all these over at once.
Yeah. I think, Katie Grace, I'd like to make a motion to continue all these to the March 15th meeting.
All right, so
Why you take them bang
We're
off?
gonna do one at a
you want to
time?
do them one at a time?
Yeah.
All right. So your first motion is for lot 18.
Joseph Road, lot number 18, to continue to the meeting for March 15th.
Second,
Seconded, roll call vote.
Art Montverde, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Mangiamai.
Thank you. John, could you stop sharing your screen? I want to be able to see the commission's faces.
Apologies.
No, it's fine. For me, I like to see when we're doing votes. All right. I'll entertain a motion for lot 19.
I move we continue the public hearing for Joseph Road, lot 19 to March 21st, March 15th.
15.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Art Montverde, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Mangiamai.
All right, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to move the public hearing for Joseph Road, lot 20 to March 15th, 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Good. Roll call vote.
Art Montverde, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Mangiamai.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to move, to continue the public hearing on Joseph Road, lot number 21 of Sleepy Hollow to the meeting of March 15th at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Moved
Second,
and seconded by Mark. Roll call vote.
Art Montverde, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Mangiamai.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to move the public hearing for the notice of intent for Joseph Road, lot number 22, Sleepy Hollow, to March 15th at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second,
Motion. Seconded by Mark. Roll call vote.
Art Montverde, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Mangiamai.
I just did 22.
Yeah, we got one more, I think.
Yes,
All right, I'll
one more.
entertain a motion to move the public hearing for Joseph Road, lot 23, Sleepy Hollow, to March 15th at 7 p.m.
I don't think we did 22. We did 18, 19, 20, and 21.
I think we might have missed 20. I think we
We
went
may
straight.
have missed 20.
Replay the tape.
Motion to adjourn.
No, not yet.
May the record hold that I meant to do them in order. We're pretty sure we did 22, right? No, we're not sure we did 22. Let's do 22.
Let's do 22.
Okay, I move that we continue the hearing for Joseph Road, lot number 22 to the meeting on March 15th.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Art Montverde, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Mangiamai.
I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for NOI Joseph Road, lot 23, Sleepy Hollow, to March 15th at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second,
Motion seconded Seconded by Mark. Roll call vote, please.
Art Monmany, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Manjamai.
Thank you. All right, we believe that's everything.
I think we did 6.
It was the intention anyway.
Yeah.
So may the record state that we think we voted yes on 20, and if we didn't, we're very sorry. And we meant to. Okay, that's everything on my agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Steve, has the selectmen made any progress on getting some clerical assistance for us? Because now we're going to be 4 minutes into meetings with no minutes to review.
I have not heard.
We're going to get backed up.
I think the whole town is getting backed up.
Oh, no.
And plus, we've got 2 meetings come up in the next 3 weeks, so we'll be 6 into. It's just the further out you get from them, the harder they are to remember and review, based on whatever you write quickly on your notes. So,
I'll reach out and ask Suzanne the status.
Suzanne King, yeah.
I've heard that we've actually hired a new note keeper now.
Oh, yeah.
Has anybody else heard that?
No,
No, I hadn't.
Pardon?
I hadn't heard that.
Okay. Well,
I
it was I'm
hope
not
you're
sure
right.
it's true, but I think Maria told me.
I'll ask tomorrow, Art.
I think Maria knows, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And our next meeting, which is a good thing, is just one item.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Wow. Like the old days.
Hallelujah.
Like the old days.
Those were before my time. I don't remember those kind of old days.
And I don't think I'm gonna add anything, so.
Yeah. I'll keep my fingers
If you
crossed.
guys can take a gander out there, it's the Cedar Street replacement bridge.
Oh, yeah?
So, there's plans I think there's plans on the drive.
Yeah, I spoke.
So, just be careful when you park there. I would park farther up Cedar. It's a pretty busy intersection if you want to walk around. But.
I drive by there almost every other day, so I noticed that I keep seeing the flags there. So
Right. It's pretty distinct where the wetlands is.
Did you hear anything more on the Atlantic cedar, white cedar cutting across the street there near the Quintals place?
I've been waiting for this. I've gone by. I go by, but it's just with the snow.
Yeah.
I haven't. They emailed me, gave me permission to go on the property.
Okay.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So I have it on the. I have it on. Actually, I have it on for the 15th under discussion already.
Perfect.
Okay.
And hopefully the snow will melt by then. If not, I'll put it on the following meeting.
Supposed to get warm this week.
Oh, nice.
It's sugaring season.
Yep.
All right.
I move at 9:20. We move to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded roll call vote.
Art Monmany, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Eric Harris, aye.
Mark Manjamai.
AG Dudley, aye.